Professor Park gets his album back from the hospital where he began his medical studies, hearing it's going to be demolished soon. Sitting up in bed, he opens the album and remembers 3 strange days in there. Even under Japanese colonial rule, it was peaceful inside the Anseng hospital. A student says they can see ghosts if they look in the mirror in the morgue, warning them not to break the mirror, when they're called to Dr. Lee, who tells Park, the young professor, to manage the morgue for a week. Afterwards, the director of the hospital calls Park, who's engaged to her daughter Aoi. She wants them to get married soon because Aoi's got back from Japan, saying his parents would be delighted to see his wedding from heaven. He thanks her for looking after him since they passed away. At night, a student rushes to the others and says about a new female corpse, who froze to death and is extremely beautiful. Park looks in a mirror in the morgue, when Dr. Lee surprises him, who gets embarrassed and breaks the mirror. Lee tells him to stop idling away and organize the chemicals and bodies, right after which the cart falls on the floor and the bottles are broken. Cleaning the floor, he notices water dropping from a body. He uncovers the sheet and finds a beautiful young woman, when he notices a ring on the floor and tries to put the ring on her finger, which has a tan line, but it doesn't fit. The next day, he tries again but it still doesn't fit. Sitting on the floor, he tells her his secret, that he doesn't want to get married to the director's daughter, whose face he has never seen, but he follows what the director says to repay her. Park cleans the autopsy room and leaves, when a monk bows to him. When he looks back, the monk goes away. In the morgue, Park strokes the woman's face, when the director comes in and says she committed suicide with a man whose body wasn't found, and asks the time when he was born. After she leaves, he puts the ring on her finger, which fits now. In the middle of the night, while drawing the woman's face, he hears a woman crying in the hospital, which makes everyone scared. Park follows the sound and finds the monk holding a ritual, but when the monk looks back, he rushes back. Beside the monk, a woman cries before the altar on which 2 pictures are covered with incantation texts. He checks the morgue and goes to the freezer where the woman is kept, of which water starts flowing out. When he opens the door, where the body is gone, but all of a sudden he's dragged into the freezer. Park and the woman bow to each other, kiss each other, and hug each other with her pregnant. Then he wakes up to find himself with the corpse and throws up. In the valley, the incantation texts are removed from the pictures of the female corpse in Park, and they are burned by the director, who tells the monk it's wrong that she made a dead person and a living person get married, but she can't let her daughter Aoi go to the man who made her die. On the water, Aoi reflects beside Park. On the other hand, Asako has a seizure, who survived a car accident in which her parents died. When Park puts the mother's body into the freezer, the door keeps opening itself, so he fixes the door with cloth, but later the door is open again. In the middle of the night, Asako is wide awake because her bloody mother is sitting beside her bed murmuring, so she closes her eyes. Opening her eyes, she finds herself in the corridor, but soon her mother appears again, combing her hair. She lifts the lantern, looks at her mother's bloody face and screams. The next day, Dr. Lee tries hypnotizing her to find the cause of her mutism and nightmares, after which he tells her his own experience at a young age, in which he and his brother went see a pheasant living in a dry well, into which he fell, when his brother came down to save him using rope, which broke, so his brother also fell into the well. Saying they could get out, his brother made him eat eggs and drink standing water. Afterwards, people came to save them, but his brother had already been dead holding his hand, so people still say his dead brother saved him. He says he can fully understand her because he has been in her shoes. In the middle of the night, she wakes up and follows a man getting out of the room calling him Seichiro, but an old woman appears carrying a baby and comes toward her, during which her neck is cut but still keeps walking toward her. She wakes up screaming. That evening, Dr. Lee hypnotizes her again. She remembers when her mother introduced her to her stepfather, Seichiro. After they got married, she watched them secretly. In the car, she said she loved him, and staring at her mother, she asked why her mother had him all to herself. She shouted to her mother to disappear so that she could live with him. Hugging him tight, she pulled his hand, and the car crashed into an old woman carrying a baby. Her mother carried her on the ground far from the car and fainted. Realizing what she did, she cries saying it's all her fault. Dr. Lee reports to the director Asako's repressed emotions were released out of her unconsciousness, so they have done all they can do now, and tells Asako she won't have nightmares again, but she loses her consciousness again. He performs CPR, when she holds his hand. She remembers her mother said it was not her fault, and holding her hand, died, when she dies too. That evening, getting back, he sees the same building as in the picture of Asako. He crosses the road to go there, run over by a car, when he sees Asako looking at him. On the other hand, Dr. Young performs an autopsy on a soldier's body stabbed so many times by a long sharp metal rod. Major Akiyama says it's strange the killer didn't even touch the documents of which the victim was in charge. That night, Dr. Won, who is Dr. Young's husband, wakes up covered in sweat, and sees his wife and her long hairpin. The next day, a child soldier is found killed exactly in the same way. The major believes it's a serial murder targeting Japanese soldiers. Dr. Won checks the child soldier. Dr. Young plays with a crystal ball, so he asks why she likes the ball that much. She answers the lover inside just look like them, when he takes and illuminates it, and the wall is full of the lover's shadow. It makes her so happy, but he gets shocked, because he can't see her shadow no matter where he moves the light. He tells her to walk toward him, but there isn't her shadow on the floor either. He remembers when the couple performed brain surgery on the general in Japan, during which he wakes up, picking up a knife and stabbing Dr. Young in the neck. Realizing she died, he wonders how she can still stay with him. Nevertheless, he tells her to stay with him forever no matter what happens, when she says they can never be apart. In the middle of the night, he wakes up to see a butterfly fly away from her pillow. He follows the butterfly, which follows her, and a nurse happens to see him getting out chasing her. Dr. Young stabs the nurse over and over again with her arm scratched by the nurse. He stops her, saying he understands her and that's enough. When he tries to take her hairpin, she tries to stab herself, but trying to stop it he's stabbed. After a while, he wakes up to find the nurse dead, who he pushes off the cliff. Getting back, he goes through the house but she's gone. The next morning, he is dressed up and packed his suitcases, looking at the crystal ball, when she appears and asks why he likes the ball that much. He says he was worried she would have gone somewhere and suggests going back to Japan, when she notices the wound on his arm, which makes him surprised. Then she disappears again and he realizes he's the one who stabbed the nurse last night. Meanwhile, the major finds the nurse's body and the killed child soldier's clothes next to the nurse. Dr. Won reports to the police that he's the one who killed all the 3 recent victims, so they should come catch him, and he writes a note that he has another identity other than himself, who killed them all, and makes sure not to believe anything he says, tying up himself. The major goes into Dr. Won's house calling him, when Dr. Young appears. When he asks where Dr. Won is, she says he's being late. Bleeding from her arm, she goes to prepare tea, when he reads the note, saying that's completely crazy. Holding a gun, trying to approach her, he's stabbed by her. Afterwards, when he wakes up, she's gone. After being treated, he checks the hospital, and is told a student went to a dissecting room to perform an autopsy, which he hasn't requested. Then Dr. Lee is carried to the hospital when there are no doctors, so Park goes to the director. Dr. Lee opens his eyes, and sees Asako. When she says she loves him, he dies. Opening the door, Park sees the director hanged herself. The police barge in the dissecting room and see Dr. Won is about to stab the student. When the major shoots in the air saying to stop, Dr. Won asks for help because Dr. Young is haunting him, but the major says he's not Dr. Won because he died a year ago in Japan, calling him Dr. Young. In fact, the one stabbed by the general was Dr. Won. In despair, she created his identity inside herself, and has avenged her husband's death on others. Crying, she stabs herself, realizing she has been completely alone so far. Dying, she says she's lonely. Looking at the album, old Park finds Aoi's picture he drew. He says he knows she's always with him, when she appears. He says he's been so lonely for so long, so she should have taken him with her at that time, crying. She comes to him with tears in her eyes, and the hospital starts to collapse. For more videos like this, remember to subscribe and hitting the like button helps this channel continue.